It's headlines and fun, true crime tales and a wild rerun. Bits of news to brighten your day in the latest, wackiest, petty expressway. Scandals, gators, space coast too. Crimes that baffle and headlines askew. When the world gets dark, we bring the cheer. Newsy nuggets, the good, the grim, the weird is here.
In the biggest what in the actual hell, the wife of accused Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann says that he's her hero and reveals a creepy take on the first jailhouse visit. In why? All the why. I just need you to sit down and explain it to me because honest to God, what in the Walmart rapture are you still doing? Like, he's my hero. He's a good provider. He's also, a serial unaliver, allegedly. She's like, but he always pays the bills. I mean, what am I listening to here? I don't know. I have a clue. The wife of accused Gilgo Beach serial killer, Rex Heuermann, says that he's her hero and that it was like falling in love with him all over again when she saw him first behind bars. Ma'am, your husband looks like Shrek. That is a face I don't even know a mother could love. And you're like, ooh, it was like the first time I laid my eyes on his creepy self. Ooh, things that make you go, boo. Asa Ellerup, 61, said during an explosive interview in upcoming Peacock docuseries The Gilgo Beach Killer House of Secrets that she is convinced cops have the wrong guy and that her wonderful husband isn't the monster who unalived and mutilated 7 women, not sex workers, let's say women. Again, New York Post. I don't care what the hell these women did. They were humans. And why you have to put out that I get that they were sex workers. And usually I don't have a problem. I don't get all up in my, Karen Lovejoy hall monitor. But they were humans. They were, mothers, daughters, sisters, friends. I get that they worked in a field that I don't really understand, get, or approve of, but they were people first, not sex workers. And God dang it, could we start treating people like humans? I don't care what they did. They didn't deserve to be unalived the way they were. And this has spanned over 30 years, this particular case. I know what bad men are capable of doing, she told the show, which begins airing Tuesday. I've seen it and I've heard it from other men, but not my husband. You have the wrong man. Sure, Jan. Blink once if you have Stockholm Syndrome. Blink twice if you're unaware you have Stockholm Syndrome. I want him to come back home with me, Ellerup said. They're trying to sit there and tell me that, but I have no knowledge of what they keep talking about. Oh, you must have known. Known what? My husband was home here. He was a family man, period. The Delulu is strong with this one. I mean, granted, we have seen shenanigans and chicanery and all sorts of redonk in the Karen Reed case, but I don't think that the FBI, I could be wrong. They are a federal agency, but I don't think they're going to waste time following, a guy that looks like Shrek and, get his pizza to match the DNA to the bodies. But sure, it's a witch hunt. MI6, the FBI, the CIA, and the IRS teamed up to, entrapinate your husband. Now, I can't imagine, in all seriousness and with grace, I get how absolutely upending this would be for your life. I know that the daughter of the BTK killer has talked about how absolutely devastating, learning her father's real identity as the BTK killer was, that all of their lives were just kind of a facade that he put on so people wouldn't notice that he was, a freaking weirdo who unalived people. So with Grace, I understand that her life has been put into a blender and now looks like a disaster zone. But at some point, there has to be some kind of evidence that proves to you that, as sad as it is, as devastating as it is to all of your life, he probably did this. Now, again, I know he is alleged guilty. He is presumed innocent at this point. But I don't know. When the feds start coming after you, I feel like they don't pick cases, they lose. Now, Heuermann, a hulking Manhattan architect, was arrested in July 2023 at his Midtown office and charged with a cold case unaliving of three young women. Again, I'm not going to say sex workers. They were young women. Again, for the love of Cheetos, I don't give a crap what they were doing. They didn't deserve this. Now, Suffolk County prosecutors also later charged him with the unaliving and mutilation of four other victims who were also in the sex work business, but were people first. Again, I know I'm hammering on this, but these are people, these are humans. You know, whether you're homeless or a CEO, you don't deserve to go out the way these people were. And I hate that these victims have been reduced to, oh, well, they were sex workers. I don't give two craps. I really don't. They were unalived. Their power, their voice, their lives, their futures were taken away from them. And I really wish we would just call them young women or women and leave what they were doing out of it for now. Again, that's what I do. I'm not a journalist, but there you go. Now, he allegedly kept news clippings of the brutal slayings in his basement. Despite the mountain of evidence, including DNA matches to all the victims, among them hairs from Ellerup and the couple's daughter Victoria, the accused fiend's wife continues to believe her husband is innocent. Would you like to donate to my for-profit charity? It's called Moe's House, and 100% of all profits go to Moe's House and Sailor Moon Crap. I'm the most honest for-profit charity ever. Now, adopted by Icelandic immigrants, Ellerup met the tall, dark, and handsome Heuermann when she was an 18-year-old working at a Long Island 7-Eleven, adding that the pair formed an immediate bond. Ellerup said that she was SA'd at 16 by a classmate and attempted to leave this life and was forced to hide in a dumpster for 19 hours to foil a kidnapping attempt, making, the hulking Heuermann her savior. She said he has stuck with her through more recent travails too, like a double mastectomy. He's my hero. There are times where he was working, but I'd call him and he would come and pick me up. And these are some of the beautiful young women that have lost their lives. And we need to celebrate the fact that they were human. I really give no craps what they were doing, but these were someone's daughters, someone's sisters. I know. I've already talked about it. The pair formed a years-long platonic bond that eventually turned into a romance as their first marriages fizzled and they moved in together, which led to their wedding in Sweden in 1995. The next year, their daughter Victoria was born. These days, Ellerup says she's brought to tears by the Buddy Holly's tune, Crying, Waiting, Hoping. She's denied claims that the couple had swinger parties in the past, calling the notion absurd, and maintained that Heuermann would never ask her to do any of that. She appeared to be in denial of some of the evidence that Suffolk County prosecutors pulled from the couple's home, including really sick prawn, claiming she doesn't know if the footage is actually his. Okay, well, the computer's in your house, so it's either him, you, or your daughter, unless you have a squirrel who knows how to get on the internet. She also claimed that her husband did not, solicit women with payable favors. Of course she did. Although she believes that prostitution should be legal. Okie dokie. Now, Ellerup filed for divorce shortly after her husband's arrest, but their daughter maintained in the documentary that move was to protect their assets. Despite the divorce filing, Ellerup says she regularly speaks to her husband behind bars. I haven't seen him in all this time. When I went down there, I was excited and I was like, I guess this is a first date. You're nervous, you're scared, you don't know how the date's going to go. Ma'am, like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but they've got like all the evidence on your husband. DNA is kind of something that's a little hard to just accidentally on purposeful find its way to every single victim that's been linked to this particular, crime spree. I mean, you and Lori Vallow have about the same touch on reality, don't you? Now, she says she hasn't gone to see him in months and is paranoid that their conversations are being recorded behind bars. They are. Jailhouse calls are recorded in jail. Just a FYI. Which makes her afraid to, be open with him in jail. Telling him that I love him, that will hurt him, Ellerup said. What I want to say to him is I love you no matter what, but I don't even want to say no matter what because I don't believe he did this. I don't see what everyone else is saying. I don't see the phone calls to, the women of negotiable affections. I'm trying to keep myself sane, she said. At the same time, people are saying, how could you not know that your husband was a serial unaliver? Again, I think that take BTK for, example. These people, these serial unalivers, these organized serial unalivers are able to compartmentalize his family, his wife, his child. That's a normal mask, to him. Again, and this is the part of his personality. People can have very different facets. And I think that, if BTK was able to hold off for many, many years, being found and just kind of reverted to normal guy, it's possible. It's possible you wouldn't know. It's possible that you maybe saw some, teeny tiny red flags like, oh, he's always gone late at night and he never wants me to touch his laptop. Oh, his phone, always has ads from Craigslist for a massage. He must be really tense. Or he's, Nancy Gribble getting some migraine treatments. Wait a minute. I picked him up from the train station every day. He was home on weekends. He smoked a cigar in the garage. If you told me that he went out to Lowe's to pick something up and was gone for an hour, there's no freaking way that this man is going to solicit from, a lady of the night. Unalive them and dump them on Gilgo Beach. She did have one issue with her embattled husband. She doesn't like his new haircut. Ma'am, with a dome like that, there's not much a hairdresser could do. I mean, it's a hairdresser, not a wizard, all right? Besides, I don't think any haircut's going to make Shrek look more appealing, but that's just me. He's not my cup of tea. Before he was, allegedly the unaliver, so I doubt that, a brand new crisp fade is going to help it. But those are my thoughts. Well, feel free and please put your thoughts down below. This is a crazy, and again, with all kindness and grace, I can't imagine what it would be like to have been married to someone for an entire lifetime, raise a child with them, and then realize they had this secret life. So while I can empathize with her, there is a lot of denial that I see, but denial is also self-protection. Look, there are things that your body just knows you're not ready to deal with, and your brain is so incredibly protective of both your psyche and your, mental well-being that, she might quite literally, and not a doctorologist here, be able to process this right now. It could pay, it'll take years, maybe an entire lifetime, I could imagine, to have all of your life be scrutinized and realizing that your husband might be the one responsible for all of these, acts of evil. So I get her delusion, but at some point, I hope someone is there when the truth starts to sink in. I hope she has support. I hope she has someone she can turn to, because this is this is a life destroyed. I mean, she was over here thinking she was a stay-at-home mom to an architect, with an architect husband. So I get that her entire life has been devastated, but at some point, the evidence becomes cumulative and you do have to finally accept it whenever your timeline works. Look, it takes me a long time to process. So, ma'am, if you need a long time, take it. But baby steps, start open your eyes because it don't look good for your husband. And I really don't want you to have more trauma in your life when, the federal jail cell clinks closed. As always, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a can of bitch fire and, a sassy mouth because there are Rex Heuermanns and apparently the women that love them out there. Bye, you guys.